Good morning. Thank you for listening to WXOX 97.1 FM in Louisville, Kentucky. This is Artists Talk with LVA, the show produced by Louisville Visual Art, and I'm your host, Keith Waits. Today, I have two people with me here to talk about a special program and project. Desmond Stepp is the outreach coordinator for Louisville Visual Arts. She's a graduate of the University of Louisville, earned her bachelor's degree in art and a minor in psychology as a health advocate leader. Desmond also worked in outreach, organizing, and facilitating workshops that connected the campus community. She has also worked as an artist and volunteer with the Healing Walls Project, an organization of BIPOC artists who travel across the United States promoting healing and justice for those who have been marginalized and oppressed through the use of public art. Also with us today is Jalen Stewart, an old friend of the show. I think this is maybe Jalen's third interview with me. She is an artist from West Louisville who has dedicated her talents to victims of violence and the community by creating therapeutic artwork. Although primarily a painter, her three-dimensional installation, God Rest America, was at Scheherazade Gallery in 2019. In 2021, she received the Emerging Artist Award at the LVA Honors that year. And in the 2022, she was the first person selected for the Artist Catalyst program with Mural Arts Philadelphia and Louisville Visual Art, and that has resulted in the This Is Home, a new mural at the California Community Center, which was just dedicated on August 27th. So Jaylin, Desmond, thank you both for being with me.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
So Desmond, let's start with you. I want you to explain, you're the outreach coordinator, so you are point on this program. Explain what the Artist Catalyst program is and what Louisville Visual Art, because I work there too, what our partnership is with them, and then how Jaylin has come to be a part of it.
Yeah, so the Artist Catalyst program, it's a program that stemmed from the Public Art and Civic Engagement Initiative, which is from Mural Arts Institute. And it is an initiative that was developed by them to help create sustainable infrastructures to support growth of socially engaged public art across the nation. And so they work in spaces outside of Philadelphia. So they'll work with another organization outside of Philadelphia to create public work and share the knowledge of how to kind of navigate community engaged workshops and art projects to be a catalyst for change and for healing spaces and atmospheres across the nation. And so we as LVA applied for the grant we applied back in 2020, I believe, and then ended up getting approved for it, which is awesome. We got approved or selected with 3 other art organizations as well. So it's us. It was also the Asian Pacific American Network of Oregon, and then the Southside Community Center of Chicago, Illinois. So it's all 3 of our organizations, and each one has 2 Artist Catalyst programs. And the Artist Catalyst programs are these 2 programs that allow for the organization to support an artist in community engaged work. So there are 2 phases of it. Jaylin was selected for the first one. And yeah, so that's kind of like the background of it. It was a very community-based selection as well. A long thought out artists, call for artists went out. We had different people on the panel, extremely, people that have been helping in the community and that are known in the community, like Dr. Jabani Bennett, we had Dr. Renee Campbell, and then we also had Lamont Collins. And they helped in selecting Jalen Stewart as being the artist who was able to do that work. So that's a little bit of background information.
Well, and if I remember correctly from those early days in the discussion, and I didn't do very much on this, you and our director Christian really managed everything, but you particularly, but that was looking for an artist who was comfortable doing public work, had already done some public work, but could benefit from this sort of professional development to become even more ambitious with their vision and their goals for what they would do for public art.
Right. So The Artist Catalyst program, not only is the artist to be creating a community-based work, but they were also given technical skills and support from Mural Arts Philadelphia to learn how to better execute that type of public art, um, and learn tools and just learning opportunities as well as getting financial support as well. So we wanted to select someone that already had a bit of experience, but was new in their journey, and this could really, push them forward.
Okay. Well,
Mm.
Jaylin, let's get you in here. You're really kind of the guest of honor. So congratulations on being selected, and congratulations on finishing your project. So let's go back to sort of the beginning when you were selected. I mean, what did you think you were going to get involved in? What did you think the experience was going to be like before you actually stepped into it?
Before I stepped into it, well, I applied specifically to learn. When the call for artists went out, and I was really trying to figure out what the programs was about and what this specific project was going to be about. And so I really wasn't expecting anything. I was expecting everything to be new, and I was like really going in with an open mind. So my main goal was to learn when I was going after the project.
Well, then, so what was it like to actually go through the experience? Were you surprised at how involved it was, how much it happened?
Mhm.
You've made one trip to Philadelphia, and I think there's another one, right?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
So, so when I was selected for the program and we started it, we actually it was a 2-week incubator that we actually had to do online because of COVID. But the incubator was so intense and it was so knowledgeable. And it really kind of gave me insight on what it was that I could do. Because when I applied for the project, they don't have a specific, like, we didn't have a specific plan, something. Sometimes you apply for things and there's a specific thing that you're going to do. It was very open, so we went through the 2-week incubator, and it really just allowed me to learn and kind of expand my artistry on how I could do different projects and how I could make them community based and how I could get more involved and do more as a, trained artist. So after we did the incubator, like, my mind was just, my thoughts and like everything was just going, it was soaring. And I was so excited and I had so many ideas. And we had a year to do this project. We had a year to do this project. So I really had time with my team to kind of just digest some of my ideas and some of these big goals and dreams that I had, to make one solid project with the learning, that they was teaching us, with the skills that they was teaching us, excuse me.
Right.
So eventually, as the project started to come along and we was working more, and we stayed in contact with them all year, it was a very, very open communication. I eventually went to Philadelphia. I had a great time there, and I honestly could say, we went to train, but it really was a life-changing experience for me. Just seeing something so large, seeing these beautiful pieces of artwork, that I really wanted to be a part of, and actually being a part of their programming, so I just felt very honored. I was very grateful and I learned so much. But the main thing for me when I went to Philadelphia is I came back so much more motivated. And I was like, right smack dab in the middle of my project. It was almost time for me to install, and bring in other artists. But I came back with so much knowledge, but so much more ambition to really just want to push forward and do greater things and become the artist that I'm really working towards, and really continue to work with LVA and, other organizations, just with all this knowledge and skill that I had learned and experienced from the program. So it was truly amazing, just to be able to work with such um, great organizations, because I never really knew much about Mural Arts Philadelphia before I had applied for the program, but it is truly, truly amazing. And I've learned so much and I've grown so much over this last year through that project and experience.
Right. They are I guess, the preeminent mural and I hate to put the word mural to it, that seems limiting, but the major sort of mural and public art organization for a city in the United States, which is why they did this, right? So they can pass on all the things they've learned through their history in Philadelphia.
Mhm.
One of the things though, and I had the unique opportunity, of course, because your studio space is here in the building, to watch you work with your team quite a lot. Because of course, I'm really glad you're emphasizing the length of time behind this. I think that's important. People just think like, oh, Jaylin got a wall and put it up and did it. And that, but that there was so much more to this than even your mural reflects, right? It was about giving you something. But so I mean, I know you've worked with other people. You're not isolated as an artist, but to formally have a team working for you like this, was that a challenge? I mean, what was it like to sort of be the team manager?
It definitely was a challenge. This whole project in general was a challenge, and but it wasn't like a challenge where like I was afraid of it or I didn't want to do it. It was the challenge that I was looking for. And then like I said, it's made me become greater. But having a team just really changed things for me. It changed my perspective and it changed how I want to do things as an artist. Because I always talk about how I just want to go bigger and better. I want to go get bigger walls, bigger projects, whether it's 2-dimensional, 3-dimensional. But the impact that I want to have on the world and I want to have on other people and communities, like I know I need people. I know I need a team. And I know I need artists, whether they are trained, untrained, visual, not visual. I need a team, and to be able to have that and actually lead that team as I'm learning was truly an honor. So it wasn't like I just, I had this team that I just was bossing around and telling them, how to do my mural and this is how you paint. It truly was a learning experience for us all. It was really we created a little mini family, and we all understood that we had different spaces, in our lives and in our careers, but we are all here for one goal, and the project, it wasn't about me as an artist. It wasn't about what I wanted to do. It was bigger than all of us. And I think that just made us more eager and much more dedicated to the project. And it just made, the skill, and it made everything like learning, and made it so much more fun. So it was a game changer. Like I'm ready to do things completely different, not completely different, but, just better, with more knowledge, with my career and how I want to work with other artists and other people or other organizations.
Right. Well, what I witnessed is you were a terrific leader, very respectful of your people in the workspace, and but also it just seemed like you guys were having a ton of fun. I mean, hard work, but like having fun.
Yes.
Shout out their names. Who were the people on your
Oh
team?
yes, absolutely, absolutely. Shout out to Danielle, Kevon, and Natasha. Of course, Desmond, and we got Jared, who's in New York, our project manager. But my team was amazing. We had a lot of fun, but we worked extremely hard. And so it was some days I was falling asleep in the studio. We just was pushing ourselves, as far as we could to get this project done. But we had a great time. And it was just amazing because we got to work in the space, we got to work in LVA space in the warehouse, and programs was going on like the cultural pass, and we got to basically live paint, in front of families and in front of kids and people that came in to experience what was going on in the warehouse. And that made it even better for us. It just made the experience even more beautiful. So it was truly an honor to work with them. I'm so grateful for them. They worked extremely hard and they learned extremely quick. So and definitely be an ongoing relationship. So you definitely will see more of my team, of our team.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the specific piece, but let me start with the techniques you use. Now, this was a pretty large wall. What were the dimensions of this wall?
Desmond, what was the specific dimensions?
They were about, I think, like, I'm gonna be rough with it.
Sure.
Uh-huh.
I believe it was like 60 by 25 feet.
Yeah. Yep. I believe 64 by
That's good.
20.
Yeah. So it's a two-story building
Yeah.
Yeah.
and 60 feet across.
Yeah.
So, but you did not paint all of that on the wall. One of the techniques you learned from Mural Arts Philadelphia is the parachute cloth. Talk just a little bit about that.
Oh yeah, so I was trained, with Mural Arts Philadelphia. They taught us different techniques on how we could do murals, through just patterns, and drawing, projections, but they also taught us the parachute method. And basically we use a polycloth where you use an adhesive gel and a certain method to apply it to the wall. And the gel, the materials that you use to apply this cloth to the wall, this hand painted cloth to the wall, it kind of just seeps in, the sun does some stuff and it kind of just, it's permanent and becomes a part of the wall. So it's almost like you hand painted it directly on the wall. But this method gives you the option to work anywhere. It gives you the option to work in your studio. You don't have to be in 100-degree weather, or you don't have to be in extremely cold weather. You can work on pieces of your mural or the full mural on different sites. But I really took interest in this method because it would allow me to work with the community, and it would have really allowed me to let them have a part of it, and them not have to work on a wall with me and my team, and be trained on that level. I could just bring basically big coloring books or parts of my murals, which we hosted a community paint day, to let the community be a part of that and apply it to the wall. So I painted half of the mural on the wall and I painted half of it on the parachute cloth. We painted 7 figures over 7, exactly 7 figures to put on the wall. And we did that in 2 weeks in our studio. And it was extremely fun. But I love the method and I loved it because everyone got to be involved in it. And it was super convenient because we had a lot of rainy days and we didn't miss any work because we was inside.
Well, and what you're talking about is a part, and I encourage, people go to California Community Center and take a look at the mural. I hope you will do that after listening to this interview. But there's a section of the mural where you have these paw prints, and that a lot of those are actually painted by kids at your community day, which was, I don't know, it was a few weeks ago. So that they actually their work is on the wall, but also these figures you're talking about are people from the neighborhood. So talk a little bit about, because this is called This Is Home. Talk about the meaning of that title and why those people being in the mural is important to you.
So the people in the mural, some of them, I chose to be a part, because I'm from their neighborhood and I grew up there. So I know a lot of different people, but a lot of them were talked about as well with our community members and with the in our community workshops. So I really just try to include people that was a reflection of our neighborhood and a reflection of all ages, all races and all different types of talents. So I included people from the neighborhood. I included a 6-year-old little girl. Her name is Chanel France, and she's the actual main figure. She's playing t-ball. She's one of the busiest little girls I know. She plays basketball, she plays t-ball, she cheerleads, she dances, and she's like super smart, and I also have another young lady that dances in our neighborhood. Her name is Kamaya. We have people like Trayvon, who was advocates of our neighborhood, that fought for many different things like gun violence and just, pushing for our people to do better. And people like Mr. King, he was an NBA star and he spent many, many, many years working at the California Community Center after he retired from his profession. So everybody in this piece was very, very significant, in many different ways. And it's always a goal of mine to just include as many people as I can, dead or alive, to give that accurate representation of what's going on now. We have a lot of artwork that talks about history, but I like to mix it up. We got past, present, and what the future could be, so I really try to do that, with the 7 figures and, with the paw prints, that the community painted, so everything from the design all the way to the figures was all a team effort, and it was all community based. So it was amazing.
It's beautiful. Desmond, I want to get you back into the conversation a little bit. So as you look back at, as the person sort of facilitating the project, um, what are your feelings about it now that you've gotten through this first round? And we'll talk in a second here about round two too. But like, the thing's complete. It's hard to see any fault with it. But what did you learn or experience about doing this this program?
Yeah, honestly, I've learned so much. This program and Mural was such an accomplishment. I think each and every one of us went in with a little bit of background, as artists, as muralists already. But to do a community engaged mural public work is something that's just incredibly different. It takes so much more thought than just creating a concept and putting it on the wall. It's being sensitive and empathetic to people's feelings, and not just a few people, but a community of people, and kind of hearing different people's voices and what they want to see and how they want to represent themselves. And so it to be able to look back a year ago, and I came, on the scene, and I was just very nervous, and I had never really managed anything like this, especially this big. But everyone was just so supportive. Jaylin is an amazing artist. She has helped me so much as a manager. Like, usually you think about the manager helping the artist, and I feel like in this instance, extremely vice versa. Like, Jaylin has been so helpful with me, and Mural Arts as well has been extremely helpful in just sharing their knowledge and all the things that they know about making something like this successful. So yeah, it just to be able to look back, it feels really, really, really good and amazing, and kind of like, wow, that happened. Like, we did that. We did
Yeah.
that, and
Yeah.
it was really good.
Well, give a shout out. Who were your key in terms of people? Who were the key contacts with Mural Arts?
Yeah, so Caitlin Rivas, she's not
Mhm.
there anymore. Or she may still be there, but went to like a different, not too sure, but she was like our first man. She was the first point of contact for us for a while. And then after her, we had Nat and Nell Portier, who is absolutely amazing as well. Both of them super communicative with us. If we had any problems, any troubles, they were there. Very wholesome, very down to earth. Like, I was kind of nervous, meeting them at first and having meetings with them and all that stuff, but they are so very compassionate. Like, it feels like a very compassionate organization, the way that they move and the way that they speak to people and stuff. You feel very at home, you feel very safe, you feel very heard too. So they were very helpful. There's also David McShane, who was the artist that helped us help Jaylin in kind of learning how to do and putting up and installing the mural cloth. We also had Malachi, I'm forgetting his last name, but Malachi was there too. He was great. Noni Clemens, she was another project manager that was very, very helpful to us. There's so many different people that were there for us.
Well, and then Mural Arts came to Louisville too at one point and spent a weekend here, right?
They did, yeah, and helped us do a workshop. So we did so we did 2 workshops. Well, actually, we did more than 2, but we did 2 in-person workshops. There was one that we did prior that was a Zoom, and it kind of was just an introduction to the Artist Catalyst program and what it was. And then the in-person workshops for the artist assistants that Jaylin had, we wanted them to not only receive knowledge from Jaylin, but it also be an open space for them to receive direct knowledge from Mural Arts as well. And so they were able to come down for a weekend and provide space and knowledge in a condensed way for the artist assistants. And then not only that, but we opened it up to the community as well. And so we had about 20 people come to a workshop where they learned and got to ask questions to Mural Arts, and also do a hands-on training with mural cloth as well.
Right.
Yeah. And shout out to Mural Provisions. That's the company that we got the mural cloth from.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Cool. Well, then let's also, while I've got your attention here. So Jaylin was the first artist, and this first project has been a triumph, I guess, right? And but we're going to be working. You're going to be working with another artist. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. So as I said prior, there are two phases. There is the first artist catalyst that Jalen was given. And then also the second one, which is Michael Kopach. So he's an artist based out of Cincinnati. He is extremely accomplished, very, very centered in his work. He mainly talks about kind of, being Black in America and what that means to him, especially as a man too. And his work is just very beautiful, very what's the word that I'm looking for? It's very thoughtful and provoking as well. And so he is going to be working with the Kentucky Center of African American Heritage. Um, and so we've already kind of started that dialogue with them. We actually had our first meeting today with the center with Michael there. So that was really awesome. And that's also going to be a year-long project that I'm very much looking forward to.
Right. So don't everybody expect to see a mural up in the next few weeks there. It's
Yeah, no. Maybe next year in May.
yeah, maybe next summer. It'll be next summer for sure.
Yes, definitely.
Jalen, are you still there?
Yes, I am still here. I'm so sorry. Some troubles with my camera.
We hadn't lost you. Technology, sometimes plays tricks on us. Well, I just wanted to come back to you here as we're kind of getting into the last several minutes here of the interview. So this experience you had working with the team and doing all these things was made possible by this program. Do you think it equips you to take on an equally ambitious project, put together a team and do all of this without that sort of infrastructure support?
Absolutely. It really, like I said, it's encouraged me to just really go bigger and go better. But really, I have so much more knowledge. I know that I'm capable of doing exactly what it is that I did, with if I have to build another team and, just or be that voice or be that organization, to help bridge gaps and create larger projects like that. So I'm looking forward to the future. I'm looking forward to the other opportunities, that are going to come after this, from the learning experience. So,
do you have any visions for doing a similar wall that you just are nurturing a desire that you can make happen?
Absolutely.
I'm not asking you to spill. I mean, if you want to tell us about it, but I mean,
I won't spill the beans. I will not spill the beans, but there is much more in store, for me, as an artist, but also just me giving opportunities, to other artists, and creating larger projects. So look forward to more teams and larger walls, and bigger programs and more community-based projects that you all can be a part of, not only just me and who I'm selecting, but I'm just really want to keep opening up the doors for other people to be a part of this public art, wave that's going on.
Right. Do you, I mean, you have focused as an artist, you have focused on neighborhoods in Louisville's west side. And of course, California, you grew up there is why you chose this particular mural. Do you see that do you think it's important for you as an artist to stay focused in those areas, or are you wanting to do public art projects in other parts of the city?
So it's definitely a goal of mine to expand and to keep going outside of West Louisville, outside of my neighborhood. That's literally just where I started, it's where I felt comfortable, and I've done so much work in Louisville, early on in my career. I'm finally able, I feel like I have the knowledge to go to other neighborhoods and other cities and other communities. You know, I can go in just a lot more nurturing, you know, a lot with a lot more just not only a sense of self, but kind of a sense of what they have going on. You know, I know how to do things a little bit better. So I definitely want to keep expanding and keep going as far as I can outside of West Louisville.
Okay. Well, I mean, because it's I don't doubt for a minute your sort of commitment to that area and the neighborhood. But I'm just sort of curious because it does seem like there's a lot of mural opportunities in the city, and that I don't see them happening all around the city. You know,
I agree.
and I one of the things that I've observed in the last couple of years is, you know, I think particularly with the Black Lives Matter movement, it's just like it seems like more and more Black artists want to do public art because they really have something to say.
Absolutely.
And I almost feel like we're seeing more activity when you go west from downtown than when you go east or south from downtown.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's a main goal of mine too. You know, it's just providing that opportunity, you know, in every neighborhood and in every space. And I think that's why I have focused on the area that I focused on, because I know it's missing, you know, and I'm providing something that I know we need. So I'm just excited to keep doing that and keep moving forward.
Cool. Well, Desmond, I was just also thought we might just take a moment to mention that Louisville Visual Art, another program of yours, the local Muse, has sort of fed into the fact that Louisville Visual Art is going to actually have a booth down at St. James this year. And I just thought we'd mention that before we finish up, in which you know, we are going to be allowed to bring in a local artist that can sell their work there. And tell us the name of that local artist.
So that artist is Darren Canton. He's an illustrator. He illustrates these fantastic, like, watercolor, fairy tale, ogre type. It's very
fantasy artist. He's a fantasy artist.
Yeah, fantasy. Thank you. But I wanted to give a little bit more, like, you know, what they
No,
look
I
like.
know. Well, and there's not just one kind of fantasy artist. I mean,
Right.
people put different kinds of, but he's definitely that vein. People who are fans would probably enjoy his work.
Yeah, he's extremely creative, and very imaginative, and his works are very lovely. And so we will be there the 30th of September, the 1st of October, and the 2nd of October.
Okay.
We'll be in the St. James Court area. And yeah. So please come out, play this work.
Well, you know, I'll try to see if we can't get him on to an interview on the radio show.
Yeah, that would be
awesome.
Can he talk like Jaylin? Jaylin is a good talker.
Jaylin is a fantastic talker. She is.
She doesn't have a problem.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, so Jalen Stewart, who has local artist who's now finished this the first artist catalyst with this fabulous mural the California Community Center, which is down on St. Catherine Street.
Yep.
Is address. Yeah, so definitely go check that out. The weather's getting perfect to go looking at murals. You know,
it is
cooled down a little bit. Perfect time to drive around the city and look at murals. So Jaylin, thank you so much for being here. Desmond Stepp, my esteemed co-worker, who is a joy to work with. Thank you both for being with me today to talk about this.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah.